The smallest derivation can mean the biggest things, and if you don't know what's hard to handle, then this might be one of them. And in exemplification, how opposites attract, the opposite thing can mean so much. If you've got a place where it's like a car from a different location, it's got its name on it. This is the second time that I've heard like or second that I've seen a car from a different town inside this one. And so when you're seeing these things that are out of place, cars in different towns that shouldn't be, it's an effect where it puts you in a disposition. Okay, so in dispositioning is like if you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out and you don't know the difference of an alignment, this can mean drastic things for your body because it's always in a homeostasis. But when it isn't, it can be the benefactor of opposites attract and might be used to have like a last minute stand, like Custer's last stand. I know Custard was terrible, but it's him and Waco where there are these moments where you do want an opposite to attract to get a maximum reaction. So that would be like a miracle in Juice WRLD saying that I'm praying God for some water to wash down these perks, some miracle water, some stuff that you would see in Waterboy where an Eskimo blessed the water. And so when opposites attract, it's like my bike chain, it's the spokes are on the outside of the bike. And so if I'm powering my outside leg that are on the spokes, it's going to be having it trip because it is bent outwards. And so if I lean into the outward spoke, it's going to knock the chain off. And so knowing how to shoot for the vacancy with my body in homeostasis with the pedal when it's coming down and pushing, because you push down when you come down, the pedal on the outside to be gingerly with it and propulse your body like from the vacant space outward, so away from that spoke to relieve the pressure so that she can hit. So with the hat on the ground, I forgot to clear my hat, but no, nevertheless, within a perfect backdrop, this one girl wanted this guy wanted a picture. So the backdrop, of course, would be.
Okay.
You're okay. LOL. No, but I'm not getting trolled on the app by a girl sitting on the ground. This one girl though, she wanted a picture, and the guy wanted a picture, and the backdrop was like this. Shit. Back to the curb. I know. So the backdrop's this one girl. She didn't want to be in a picture, and this guy did. So he pulls out the camera, and she, of course, gave him a backdrop because he wanted one. Looking important, you take your picture in an important place. And so this important place would be inside of a private club. So she pulls out a heart above his head with her fingers. She threw a heart up above his head. And this guy was balding. So it was like a sneak diss. And so he wanted a backdrop. She gave him one. But what backdrops can mean, if you're pointing out points of your weakness, I don't know how many females out there have legs that are boat-legged or the opposite of boat-legged. And this could mean that when females have bigger hips, the homeostasis of their legs are compromised with a different placement. And so I've noticed females, they have a lot of knee replacements. And with the technology nowadays, you have to sew up your knees when they get replaced. And so there's this giant scar. So every day when you wash your body, you're washing over this scar and you're attributing it to how you got there from that. It may be getting pushed around a bit because you have less of a homeostasis than a male. You would hold that against them. And I'm saying this is because Robin Williams had heart surgery. So he must have had a scar that he washed over his like chest every time. And so the backdrop of this would be at the forefront of your mind where it's never quite the same. And so with that into perspective is rigor mortis. Now, rigor mortis is a thing where you go stiff after you die. And so if there is ever a thing that represented something gone stiff, it's this equipment where there's like a bar. And it's a rubber bar, and if you grab it, it's gonna be like it's called the viper. And any health professional in physical profession, all right, any physical therapist would tell you a viper is this rubber log. And so it's just funny that a rigor mortis type of this would be, well, if a viper did go stiff, that's what it is. And then what a stillbirth is, I don't know, but it's I'm guessing negative because it's the difference for a miscarriage, which is a fatality. So a stillbirth, I don't know if it has anything to do with rigor mortis, but for an infant, if it was the case, these are things where you have to have staples in to know how to protect first against if you're making things better than what surgery is, leaving you scarred. And one last thing for the backdrop, it's either in pixel. It can be pixels. Pixels are kind of like dust, and dust is like this coloration dust that they do in this paint. It's a color blast, and that's like this one thing in the backdrop where they make it actually in the forefront too, and you run through a cloud. So it's virtually more accommodating to what pixels are because pixels are more encapsulating than a solid state backdrop. But when there's background noise, it's different than pixels as a backdrop, and that's a really important Benny factor in knowing the difference to relate the difference of what a stillbirth is to a miscarriage. Because when there's two things that are similar but drastically different, they fall into the category of opposites attract, and they can be doing something where it'll make an exact opposite reaction. And you don't want to get experimented on in that circumstance because in name of anything, no weapon should prosper against you. That's in the Bible. Oh, shit. All right, 1 second.